Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, August 18th. I hope everybody's doing well. We have a lot to cover today, a whole lot. I'm very excited. It's Pokey's wedding, and then we're going to talk about stripes and polka dots that I can't get enough of. I just can't get enough of it. And I'm going to talk about working with the fabric itself, but then also doing stripes and polka dots, maybe not even with stripes and polka dots fabric. So how about that? Today, I am being really good when I get really good when I can to go out and go for walks in the morning. And this morning, whoa, 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 whoa. This is from all of the smoke that's being swept down here. And I think this is really in Livermore, one of the first days that you're like going, woo. But the air is not so unhealthy that you can't just go out and walk. And so it has really helped my mental health. I just cannot begin to tell you getting out and walking. And I will be missing when we're taping, and we fly out a week from yesterday, because I really don't like walking in areas that I don't know. So that's going to be a real challenge. And the last thing you're going to find me is down in the gym. Not going to happen. But I just love going out and seeing people and here everybody, the mask mandate's on, you have to wear it inside. But pretty much when people are out walking, we take a wide berth, and so people are not wearing masks, they have them with them, but and to see people's smiles has just been extraordinary. I paid a lot for these teeth, a lot. And so I want people to see the work. Okay, so that's enough tap dancing. That's what I call the first couple minutes of this for people to log in and this and that. I started to show you Pokey's wedding on Monday, and I had realized right before I got on that every single image had been dumped. And so it was just one of those things that you want to start crying. And then you thought, no, this is the hanger. So I'm going to pick up here. When we got to her property at Napa, we would see what this is called the chapel. I like the way people have referred to it as the chapel, with quilts hanging everywhere. I threw in a big one of mine at the last minute, and it made the cut. It's next to the left. And I have to tell you, while I'm showing you all the details and stuff, it was an extremely spiritual, warm, fun, fabulous day. Just fabulous. So there's the altar. I may have shown you that. Yes. And in there is a quilt that Pokey made for Patrick, that if you go to, I believe, her Instagram, maybe her Facebook, it's him unwrapping it. So when we got there, again, we were ushered away from the church, or whatever, the chapel, wrapped in quilts, and directed under the redwoods, and had hors d'oeuvres and wine. It was just lovely. And that was at 4:30. So then after the ceremony, or I took this before the ceremony while it was all set up, but then we ate dinner around her pool. And I'm hoping the next one has the flags. Yeah, you can see some flags there on the right-hand side in the bush, on the bushes. She knew nothing about this. She directed the getting the quilts around the tennis court, but the quilters and people coming, people who could sew, were invited to make a prayer flag for her. And they gave you the dimensions, told you how much to do the string and all that, and it was incredible. So here are some right here. And mine, I know, like Libby Williamson made a bunch of them, but mine was hand stitched for the most part. And so she's got one from me. And mine is the one second to the right. I'm really into embroidery these days. I mean, I'm just, Sue Spargo bit me, okay? Well, in not literally, but the whole working with your hands is just fabulous. So let's see, what do we have here? Okay, then the buffet was at the other end of the pool, and I'll tell you, the food was extraordinary. I mean, it was typical Napa Valley food, if that can even be typical. Just beautiful food. So here she is walking down the aisle with her best friend's daughters walking her, which I thought was just adorable. People were offered up parasols and fans. And I did not use a parasol. That's me to the left with a fan because I didn't want to block people's visions. I think we were in the second to the first row or something like that. But I mean, the happiness here was just extraordinary. Here's a ring bearer. And it just took a little coercing to get the dog up there. You could see the ring is on his back. Pokey loves her dogs. And here is right after Carrie pronounced them husband and wife and kissing the bride. And there you can see the quilt a little bit better. And the thing you have to understand, because the weather was supposed to be flippin' brutal, like almost 100, it cooperated beautifully at 85. But people were encouraged to wear shorts, okay? So it was nothing really super dressy. But I will tell you one thing. I have a dress, a silk dress that was given to me by a gal in Paducah. She shipped me a bunch of Johnny Was stuff because she just decided she didn't want it. And it had never been worn before. And the price tag was still on it. So I was all excited. I'm going to look all that. And I walk outside our hotel and the wind caught it and blew the whole thing over my head. And I'm like going, this is not good. This is not good. I don't want to see that. None of you want to see that. So I go back in, and under my beautiful silk summer sundress were denim shorts. So I was prepared, absolutely prepared. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. This is when they got done. We had little cones of flower buds. And just look at her. I love, love that picture. I love everything about that picture. And pay attention to the ribbon. I'll get to that in a bit. Uh-oh, what happened there? That looks like it needs to be blown up. It does. I failed you. There they are. Whoa, walking down the aisle with the poochie. I mean, you could see just how much fun everybody was having. The vows were beautiful and hilarious, okay? One of his to her, one of Patrick's to Pokey's was, and I vow I will promise to watch Under the Tuscan Sun and How to Make an American Quilt once a year. You know, Patrick, I might have agreed to the Tuscan Sun, but I just watched How to Make American Quilt again after I got my COVID shot, and that tells me how much you love her. It was not how I remembered it. Just saying. This was probably my favoriteest part of the whole thing. In the swimming pool, the florist had made these little boats, and on the back of each boat had like Patrick, like just married, like Pokey, etc. Absolutely love that. But I love my boats. I love, love, love boats. Can you tell from up above my head, my dad's? So here is the ribbon. This is what I make very few but very special people. It is hand embroidered on 2-inch silk wide ribbon, and it has their name and the date. And then I always make sure that I put blue on it. So when I gave it to her, it was the night before when we were dropping off our quilts. I said, you must open this before tomorrow. And because you know how you can get carried away and forget to, just okay. And in it, I put a little note, and then I put something old box, something new box, something borrowed box, something blue boxed. And I checked off the new and the blue. So I knew she would open it then, right? Here's the cake. Everything was just right. And it was, oh, yeah, I can't, yeah. Everything was just right. And this is what I say to that. Love wins. And I will tell you, everybody at that wedding won that day. Won. It was just what it should be. And I think I shared on Monday that Pokey was married to John Bolton before Patrick, and they started cloth, scissors, paper. They started Needle Arts, or what was the name of that magazine? They did all that together. And though they divorced, they remained very, very good friends. I mean, I love John Bolton. His family came. His family came. So that is the testament of the love and the good vibes that were there. And again, my hat's off to Carrie for who wrote this book, and I shared this on Monday, who did an absolutely beautiful, beautiful job officiating. And because we had all been, having a cocktail before and having these wonderful hors d'oeuvres, I love that she started the service with, let's close our eyes, let's think good wishes to tell Carrie and Patrick. And in the evening, if you're given the opportunity, share with them what you're thinking. And boy, that just zipped it right in there, right in there. Okay, so today we're going to talk about stripes and polka dots. I love stripes and polka dots to the point that I have a basket that has a ton of my stripes and polka dots. You probably will not be seeing any of that in my fabric giveaway boxes, and I'll talk about that at the end of this. So, stripes and polka dots have come a really long way, I'm going to tell you. In the olden days, you might be lucky to find one or two bolts, and it was typically like, say, a pink and a white or something like that. Now they've come a whole long way. And I have to tell you, when I walked into the quilt store, I don't know, a couple of years back, well, before COVID, and saw all of Tula's, I bought the entire collection. People, I don't do that. I have enough fabric, but I don't do that. But I'll show you a quilt I made out of these when we're done. So where would I use stripes and tulips? Stripes and polka dots along the way. Stripes and Tula. There you go. So many times, okay, my quilts are very busy. They're very, very scrappy. So many times you will find it on the inner border. Okay. And actually, this is from my paper piecing book, and it will be one of the blocks we're doing in our class when we start that up in September. So I love them for inner borders. I also love them for bindings. And the reason I like them for inner borders is that because my things are so scrappy, it kind of whips them into shape. It kind of takes control of the situation, okay? So here is another one that I did as an inner border. This is Road to California. That's the name of the block. And you remember when we talked about holiday fabric straight up in the beginning? I'm not sure that I showed you this quilt, but there's not that many holiday fabrics in this piece, right? There's not that many. Now, the other thing that happened here, let's talk about that inner border with the stripe. I could have cut that stripe the entire width of that inner border, noting that there is red in there also. And I just felt it wasn't enough. So that's why I inserted the red. Remember, people, that your inner border is where you can make adjustments to the math if it's not coming out right. So what's this one? Okay, this is berries and stripes. This is actually a pattern I think we're going to be making on for Quilters Select for free pattern. I think I sent them the quilt and they're working on that. I don't know. But I got a close up of this because just because I say stripe does not mean it has to be a formal stripe, which is what we were just looking at. It can be a wacky stripe. It could be dots that form a stripe. It doesn't have to be formal at all. In fact, let me show you a piece here that I just looked over and grabbed. This is a wonderful stripe. It is straight lines, but you can find stripes that have wonky lines and things like that too. I use them all, okay? Now, when we did our basket quilt, remember that? Sheesh, I don't even know when that was. And I don't have it here because a gal won it from Clayton. I loved the stripes for the handles. When I'm making a basket quilt, I will run to see if there is a stripe. And so the stripes were were like this, okay? So I had to cut it across grain, but I had to cut it on the bias across the grain in order to bend it for the handles. So that's how it got that really cool look. I have an antique quilt that a basket quilt that I don't know where it is. There are problems with cleaning up your space. I still have it. And they use stripes in that handle too. Super, super effective. And then it occurred to me, stripes can be scary to work with because they've got personality, people. I mean, they really do. But then I remembered this tie quilt that I made that I demoed for the quilt show. And what is it? For the most part, it's a bunch of stripes. And I think that is one of the compelling design elements of this particular quilt. Now, I'm just looking at something here. Let's go to the upper right-hand corner and go down one row, kind of that blue and tan right there. Okay, that has a whole lot more going on than stripes, but it reads as a stripe, all right? Let's go to the top row again and count over, I don't know, 5 blocks. It looks like dots in there, but it also has stripes. So when you start playing with stripes, you do have to be aware that it's not just going to be putting a piece of fabric up on the wall. There's going to be some minutia that happens there. Then, okay, so let's say you don't have stripes. This is the first quilt of mine that was ever published in Quilts, 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 and I made a faux stripe by just using all the color solid fabrics, and I sewed it together. So there's no reason you can't do anything like that too. It looks like a stripe, it plays like a stripe, but guess what? It's not a stripe. And then this brings me to Maria Schell, who we've done a show with. This is not striped fabric, but I don't think. Maybe it is. I could be wrong, but this is taking it to a whole nother level. I love Maria Schell's work. If you have not seen her show, I commission you to go watch it because her work is just flippin' amazing. Here is another one of hers. I love this. This excites me beyond measure. I know for some of you it might be a little too much. I get that, but it excites me. Okay, so look at the bottom X. Sometimes I will, okay, I don't know if this is fabric that has been pieced or if it's fabric that she's found. I don't know. She's lucky if she found it. But I will sometimes count checks and plaids and things like that as stripes. And that's because it has structure to it. Structure. So here is a Sandy Klopp stripe. She's from my neck of the woods. She's American Jane, okay? That's her company. I was looking actually on her site for polka dots because I actually had a collection of hers that was stripes and polka dots. But look what happens when it is carefully pieced together. Those bullseyes are stunning. And I can remember 40 years ago, I took a class from Nancy Crow at East Bay Heritage Quilters, and one of her tricks was taking striped fabric and then cutting it and angling it for different results. This is truly a smashing quilt, and I do believe it's a pattern. American Jane, Sandy Klopp, okay? Then this is a quilt of mine that was almost a disaster because Michael Kyle commissioned it and he wanted all the stars to float on that border fabric. And it was awful. It was just beyond awful. And I shared that story earlier. Also, as we're looking at this, look at the star kind of in the upper right area. I forced the focus fabric into that star, and I should have never done that. That was a miss on a grand scale. But anyways, you can see here that I used stripes for the inner border, but then I used polka dots for the background on some of it. So if you look at the upper left-hand corner, I mean, it's beautiful, but to me, to mix it all together makes it that much more appealing. And while this quilt was the nemesis in the book, it was a book written by Laura Nouns. It was 4 different star quilts. I don't know, I can't remember if I made them all or not. I can't remember, but it was the one that was giving me fits. And guess which one ended up on the cover? Let's see, what is this? Did I just show you that? Okay, so now let's talk about polka dots. They are so dang playful. I cannot stand it. So this is by DQ Tree Bug. No, DQT Bug. DQT Bug. Oh, okay. I found it on Insta. Not Insta. I found it on Brain Freeze, where you go and you go down the pit of never getting off the computer. John, what's the name of that site, that place where you go? Not Instagram. Not Instagram. When you go and you fall, Pinterest. Oh, God. Pinterest, the black hole of creativity. But okay, so let's look at this adorable child's quilt. If Cutie Bug had used solid fabrics, guys, it wouldn't swing it. But this totally does it. And this is such a simple pattern, but the polka dots are the star of the show. Okay, this is Jaybird dots. This is Jaybird again on that platform. And I think these are, yeah, I'm pretty darn sure these are Tula's polka dots. But look what it adds. It's just spectacular. So think of dots as the perfect playmate, someone who will come into the party and the party can start now. Okay, this is D Redbird. And again, just like the Cutie Bug, okay, there are pinwheels, which I adore. I love pinwheels. But I think any other sashing in there might not have been too spectacular, but this is great. And look what I just noticed in the binding. There is a green stripe in there. So there it is in the binding, kind of my two philosophies mashed up together. D Redbird, or D, yeah, Redbird. Here we go, more polka dots. I think I can proudly say I own every polka dot that's in that piece. Look at the outside star tips, or the outside ring. That was a collection of dots that I bought the whole collection when I saw it because it was so unusual. And I don't even think it was around that long. So this is Quilt Story. And then this is Jen Duncan. Okay, now we're getting into some serious dot stuff, you know. But even though she's also using dots, and there's nothing formal about these dots, they're all different size, scale, and print. She also is working really in a dot circle format, and probably was not that hard to piece because curve piecing is not that bad. But the first thing that jumped out at me was that inner border with those dots. I have no idea how she did that. I have no idea if it was applique on or whatever. And then, oops, on the outside border, stripes. So I'm not sharing any big secret. It's out there and people love it. Okay, this is Sandy Klops, again, American Jane, and I was on her site looking for dotted things. And then I said, okay, now wait a minute. We've talked about piece stripes like with Maria Schell. Why not applique dots? Fun. And here's another one of Sandy's. Just love it. And I can't even tell if there are dots in there. I don't think so. But I do believe this one does. No, this one is, okay, this one is stripes and There are dots in there, I think. Yeah, I think there's some dots in there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put it there, but my glasses are failing me right now. This is a beautiful pattern, Sandy. Again, American Jane. So here is let me back up. Remember when we were doing the spinning spools and I had run out of fabric? This is it in Tula's fabric. It's fabulous. And again, I'm so grateful that I bought the whole collection. I'm sure it's still available if you go, surf around. But this is one that Ricky and I did as a challenge on the quilt show, and I chose to use Tula and Cave. So I'm going to hold it up, and then there's also circles in it too. Again, this was based on an antique quilt. I love this quilt. I just love it. This is one of the shows that we taped. And the back's pretty cool too, right? I like that a lot. So I am constantly on the quest for those. I do demand a little more excellence than I did in the olden days. Oh, besides Tula's, the other person I have a ton of polka dots are of course caves. I just love them. And I might look at it and go, well, I don't even think I like you on the bolt. I don't think the colors do it for me. You look weird. Doesn't matter. I buy it because I'm sitting there trying to find one of those like this one. Yeah, but I've used it. So I think it's really important to, number one, support your local quilt shop, support TQS, because it's without you, we aren't here, right? And so when I go to a quilt shop, man, I check out stripes and I check out polka dots every single time. But I think Tula broke the mold with hers. I just think she broke the mold. Oh, there's some capes in here too that I have. Oh, oh, these aren't Tula's. What did I grab? Here we go. Right in here. Love them. Love them to pieces. And yes, they are aggressive. And yes, they are bold. Okay, John wanted me to. Oh, okay. So we're going taping before I share with John Singh. We're going taping again a week from Tuesday. One of the shows we'll be taping is Barbara Black is going to cover for our BOM person next year because they couldn't get here, which gives you a little bit of a hint because pretty much for free to travel in the United States of America. And the quilt is absolutely fabulous. We're thrilled. In fact, this morning I'm thinking, oh, I better pack it. But make sure I don't leave it at home because Barbara's going to be doing it for us and showing us because she always pattern tests, And so she also offers lessons at the beginning of each month to help you guide through the quilt, like as she is doing right now with Color My World by Wendy Williams. And there's two things I want to say about this quilt. I think John said we have 3 in stock left as far as the kits go, but also we have tons of the black bias, fusible bias tape in the store that I think we way overbought. And it might be something you want to get your hands on because fusible black bias tape can go a long way with different projects. And this particular quilt used a lot. But also, okay, so you get that if you're a member, and a member is $50 a year, $49, okay? And you can go back and catch up on it and all that. It's from January. We have licensed it from Janet for this year, all right? And then, I'm sorry, wait a minute. I just messed up. I'm talking about 2 different things. Okay, we're talking about this. All right. Now, the other quilt that you can get if you join right now is Janet Stone granted us the right to be able to give you this quilt for free, pattern, not the quilt. Janet would kill me. This pattern for free if you are a member. So right here, you're looking at 2 quilts that the value for the patterns together are probably like $150, and you get both of those for your membership. The other thing is that you will get halfway through the year of next year's. And that's what started this whole train of thought, was I got to go pick up that quilt at the store. So I also got a letter asking if we were having a studio audience yet, and the answer is no. No way, no how. No way, no how. Not at this juncture. And it breaks our hearts because we're in Texas and it's new. It's new blood. We can bring you in, but And last but not least, if you didn't get today's newsletter, go to our daily blog or open your newsletter. And today you got about 24 hours to put your name in the pot, because 3 people are going to win a box of my fabric that I have exited from over here because I had to make room to play. So get your name in the pot. Kristen put a really cute scavenger hunt in there. And part of the scavenger hunt too is to get you, the truth is, if you want to know our ulterior motives, there's always something. We want you to get familiar with the site and see how beautifully versatile it is, versatile, and get familiar with it. What I'm going to be working on today are 2 things. I'm going to be working on my 2 segments for the quilt show. And one is essentially the top 5 things I learned from my Sue Spargo class. And I can't show you the quilt, it's over there. And then how to take a regular stencil and make it spectacular with your own thumbprint on it. So I got to work on both of those today. The deadline's getting near, right? So John just came in. What do you want to say, buddy? Oh, he wants to. Thank you. I'll show you my Sue Spargo one. And I can't show you the one. I'm starting a new one for the show. But, whoops. Look at that. I've been quilting for 100 years, and there were things that I learned in her class. I took it at the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show online, and the stitches, not so much. I learned that from books, but there are tricks to working with wool that to me were life-changing, and the results are just the absolute funnest. So that is one of the segments I'm going to be demoing. I got to work on that. Oh shoot, I'm running late. We have gone through the shows that we're going to be taping this next round. We just did that yesterday. Shelly, Ricky, and I went through them, and they're going to be really good. A lot of new blood. So that's super exciting. My goal in quilting is to expand our community and to teach. That is my goal. And that is one reason I love the quilt show so much, is because we are reaching people around the world. And by the way, you don't have to live in the USA to win one of my boxes of fabrics. Nope. So we're looking for you. Get in there, sign up. If you wait too long, sorry. So have a great day. And I'm not kidding you. I gotta get cracking here.